Okay, here everyone comes.
Hi, Kimberly.
Hi.
Just me?
There are,
Oh, 38.
yeah,
Yeah,
a bunch of
nice.
people coming.
Nice. Hi, everyone.
Hello.
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 Hi, everyone. Just giving it a second here, letting people in as the doorbell keeps ringing. But in the meantime, okay, here we go. So in the meantime, I think we'll just get started, and I'll just keep an eye on the waiting room and continue to let people in as they arrive. But yeah, just welcome everyone to our webinar today. Today we're super excited to have the FNHA team here to be talking to us about a new resource, toolkit, and website, and generally a supportive team of people to be helping to talk about supportive conversations amongst friends, which is I believe, like a youth-focused resource on harm reduction and substance use and other sort of ways that friends can not let friends walk through life alone. And all of that. I'm not going to get too into it because that's why we have this fantastic team here. So yeah, really grateful that everyone is here. Thank you to health directors who attended in person. Thank you to health directors who passed this link on so that other members of your team can join us as well. That's always great. You will have noticed when you arrive, we are recording this session. This is to allow you to be able to circle back if there was something that you need to listen to again, or if there's somebody on your teams or other health directors who aren't able to be here today, then they will be able to listen back to this webinar at a later date. So we will let you know when that is up on our website. And yeah, and with that, I'm going to turn it over to Shay, who will introduce themselves and their team, and we will take it away. Have a great webinar, everyone.
Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you. And thank you, Kim, for your enthusiasm and for inviting us today. So, hi, everybody. Super nice to be here today. My name's Shay. I am the Respecting Tobacco Consultant at the First Nations Health Authority, and I'm here with my colleagues, Berkeley and Jess, as well as some of our wonderful youth advisory members, Leaf, Art, and Haley. And we're going to be sharing the With Open Arms Supportive Conversations Among Friends Toolkit today. So I'll show the agenda, and I'll just run through it really quickly. So we're kind of going to go through just introductions. We'll give an overview of the toolkit and of the kind of the project scope and how we developed it. We'll talk about the toolkit itself, some background information, where we came up with the idea for creating a resource like this. We'll talk about the Youth Advisory Committee, so bear with us, please, Yak, while we talk about you while you're in the room. We have invited some of our regional staff as well to kind of share how the toolkit is rolling out and how they are presenting it to communities directly. And then we're doing a little bit of a QA with some of our youth advisory members today. So we have some questions for them, and we're just inviting them to share about their experience working on the project as well. So yeah, hope you enjoy it and hope it's informative for you. So this is me. My name is Shay, as I said. I'm Gitxsan. I'm from Gittimax First Nation up in the Hazelton area of northern BC, and I'm also Cree Métis on my mom's side, and Scottish. So I live in Wasanich territory in kind of the Saanich area of Victoria, and I have been the Respecting Tobacco Consultant of the First Nations Health Authority for like 2.5 years now, and I love it, honestly. It's such a great mix of talking to community, participating in research, being able to really be an advocate for wellness. And I've had nothing but great things to do. And this project has probably been the funnest one I've been on yet. So I'm super excited to share about it today.
Hi, everybody. My name is Berkeley Baker. I'm the Provincial Peer Coordinator of the Toxic Drug Response and Harm Reduction Team for First Nations Health Authority. Um, I'm a daughter of the Squamish Nation. I come from a territory called Hamulchison or Capilano, and I was raised outside of my community and kind of all across Turtle Island growing up. Um, I currently live in a territory called Namgis, up in the North Island, and it is beautiful. There are whales about today. We have rubbing rocks along one side, and it's just fills my cup to go outside every day and see all the nature around. I'm also a person with lived and living experience, and I've worked alongside youth, both with organizations such as Viper, as well as Pacific Association for First Nations Women. And I've been with FNHA for 5 years now, and I kind of sit being the kind of interim peer coordinator for youth as well. And I've loved working on this project. So, yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jessica Campbell, and I am the program coordinator on the Toxic Drug Response Team. I'm Jamaican on my father's side and Dene First Nations, Irish, and French Canadian on my mother's side. And I am a band member of the Fort Nelson First Nation of Treaty 8 territory and was born outside of community on the traditional territories of the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, Anishinaabe, and Mississaugas of the Credit First Nations people. And I'm calling in today from the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Squamish and Tsleil-Waututh Nations in North Vancouver. So for an overview of With Open Arms is a conversation toolkit aimed to be beginner-friendly, accessible, and empowering. It is entirely youth-led, and it was developed through discussions with a youth advisory committee. And it was formed of First Nations youth across BC with varying relationships with substance use and through broader engagement with youth at provincial events such as the Gathering Our Voices Youth Conference and the 2S LGBTQ plus conference in Victoria. The toolkit offers tangible and transferable conversation skills to support any conversation that requires extra consideration and care. The toolkit features informative topics rooted in anti-stigma and non-judgment, setting the tone for meeting people where they're at with kindness and empathy.
Oh, this is my slide. Okay, so this is a bit of background about like why did we make a resource like this? Like how did we decide this was important? So back in 2023, we got the coroner's report data that FNHA gets every year. And at that point, the toxic drug poisoning trends for First Nations youth aged 15 to 29 was increasing, and it was increasing by a lot year over year. There was additional data that was showing that First Nations youth were overrepresented in toxic drug events and deaths, rate of suspected opioid use disorder, and that youth in our communities were having higher than average rates of depression, anxiety, and mood disorders. So we were kind of like, oh, this is something that's really important. We hear it from communities that it's really important to them that their youth are really being supported to cope with these issues. So we went out and we started kind of talking at Gathering Our Voices and at the LGBTQ2 plus conference. And we asked youth, how can we support you in these areas? And we got feedback from them. And we were kind of hearing from this feedback that with regards to harm reduction, substance use, just like supporting one another, that youth already have conversations about substance use. They already talk about substance use and mental health with each other. And they're kind of acting as kind of first responders for each other when somebody is going through something difficult or a crisis. We also heard that youth don't necessarily know who to talk to if they need guidance. So some youth don't have a safe person that they can go to, or they're not sure how to recognize a safe person that they can go to, and they need support with that. And then the last kind of major thing that we heard is that the youth resources that already exist were not necessarily meeting the needs of youth. So some are kind of treating them like children when they're youth and young adults, and they don't recognize that teenagers do use substances. Or on the other hand, some resources that exist were really assuming that everybody uses substances, or they have a lot of background knowledge about the risks and the medical aspects of harm reduction and substance use. So there wasn't really anything in the middle that was kind of striking a good balance of having education, having information, but also kind of meeting youth where they're at. So during these early stages, we collected the feedback, and this is kind of what ended up shaping the project. So when we were talking about these things, we were asking, you know, what do adults need to understand when talking to younger people about substances? And we kind of just have an example. That's what we asked at the original kind of engagement sessions. And then on the right there is what it became in the Toolkit resource itself when we were talking about identifying a safe person. The YAC really felt that this was important to them and something that not every youth has. So it was something that was really critical to be included. So this is kind of an example of our process of how did we start getting this idea and then where did we end up? I'll pass it to Berkeley to talk specifically about the YAC because we keep mentioning them.
So, understanding that with Open Arms was created and led by our Youth Advisory Committee. Who is our Youth Advisory Committee? We have 9 youth from across BC, and they all came together with different relationships across the spectrum of relationships with substance use. So we have some folks who came and are from a place of abstinence, some from experimentation, some from recreational use or medical use, some from regular use, and some who have gone through the recovery system and have reached that part of their healing journey and found their way back to abstinence. All of our youth came from different life experiences as well. So some of our youth were urbanized, some grew up in rural and remote communities, some grew up in care, some have experiences like motherhood and being a parent. So as the YAC represented youth with different life experiences that informed their perspectives and different life stages. So, and ranges of connection to culture and community as well was a big thing. A lot of the information that our YAC brought to the table here was very culturally rooted, and they didn't want anybody left out. So a lot of our young people were very harm reduction focused, and they are incredible activists and advocates. And when building this, they said, we want everybody to feel like this resource speaks to them. This is for everybody. And it was a really beautiful experience to be able to work with them and learn from our YAC. They also bring different perspectives. We have a couple of Two-Spirit and LGBTQ plus members who really brought in that information and that perspective into the work. And it was very uplifting and warming. The YAC were absolutely instrumental in the creation of this resource, right from the planning stage all the way to the finalization stage. And we met every other Friday. And there were lots of periods of time where they would tell us exactly what they want. We would go off and we would write it and we would bring it back and they would tear us to shreds. And it was beautiful. So they really had an active role in creating this and tailoring this to exactly what they wanted it to be. And so I'm really proud that this resource is grounded through their storytelling and their life experience and lived experience. So.
Okay. Jess, do you want to do this one? I don't have a name on this slide. Thank you.
That's okay, not a problem. So The overarching goals of With Open Arms are to complement the existing strengths and the bonds that youth share, provide tools, language, and rationale that is accessible and practical for youth to have authentic conversations with friends, and emphasize that youth don't need to be substance use experts to support their friends on their wellness journeys. The content of the toolkit is divided into 4 main sections. 1, holistic wellness and prevention, which builds a foundation for understanding and compassion. 2, safer substance use, which shares tips and resources for how to be safer when using substances. 3, having supportive conversations, offers tips and examples on how to be there for someone without judgment or being solutions focused. And the 4th and final is creating safer, more supportive communities, which includes how to support someone who has decided to change their relationship to substances. Throughout the toolkit, there are mock conversations that model the skills as the reader is learning them. So they also feature notes to help the reader identify which skill is being demonstrated. And conversations like this are woven throughout the toolkit to show examples of conversations for each section.
Perfect. So where can you find the toolkit if you have not yet seen it? We thought of that and we built a landing page for the toolkit. So as a part of our kind of overarching campaign to get the resources out into community, we built a microsite, which is essentially kind of a summarized version of the toolkit itself. You can find it on the FNHA website. I have the link kind of on the page there, and this is what it looks like. The website is kind of designed to appeal to youth, so it scrolls like an Instagram feed almost, and it's got summarized versions of each of the sections of the toolkit. It's got videos that we also created. I'm going to show them next. Some of the videos that we made are kind of mock examples of the conversation skills showed in the toolkit. Some of the videos are interviews with our youth advisory committee just about why the project was important to them or things that they wanted to share with people about their experiences with safe conversations, with supporting friends, with harm reduction, stuff like that. It also has kind of a resources section on it. So many of the resources that we use to create the toolkit go there. And these can be things like where can somebody find drug checking? Where can you download apps for like using substances safer, like the Lifeguard or the Brave app? Where can you find mental health supports for youth? The list is expanding and we will continue to build on it as we go along. All of that can be found on the website. So I'm going to show videos now. I hope they work. Here's our conversation video.
Almost there.
I know, so close and then we're done.
But more batches.
Hey, have you noticed Blake's been kind of not herself lately?
Yeah, I think she's going through some stuff. Hey, Blake.
She's not gonna want to get into it.
We don't know that.
Hey, what's up?
I haven't seen you around much, Rooney. Just wanted to see how you're doing. Say what's up.
Yeah, you good?
I'm okay. I'm just gonna grab some stuff and then I'm gonna get out of the way.
No, you're not on the way. A few of us are gonna hang out with Alyssa's later. You wanna join?
Really? I can't tonight. But I'll see you guys around.
Hey, wait. Hey.
I gotta go.
I know. I just want to say that I can see you're having a tough time right now. If you ever want to talk or if you need some help, just let us know, okay?
Thanks. But I really do have to go.
Okay.
Yes.
So now that we're here, can you ask?
Added Shayna in.
They good?
I don't know. But at least I know they got us if they need us, right?
So that one is a conversation video, and it's really designed to mirror the skills taught in the conversation section of the toolkit. The next one I'll show, if I'm scrolling too fast, is one of our Youth Advisory Committee members just sharing her insights.
My name is Haley. I am from the Kakatla and Dunaha Nation. Harm reduction carries knowledge and wisdom. Sometimes if you just let someone talk, you might actually get to the core of what they're going through. Being a good listener really helps someone, so like keeping a calm energy to you, an open and relatable energy. If they're thinking it can almost become a reality. So if they're like, I want to become sober someday, but I don't know how to start, that is the start. You start when you realize that you have something going on. There's a lot of strength in taking the shame out of addiction, and putting harm reduction to work is telling your friends.
So those were the videos. And the last thing I want to talk about is resource distribution. So how did we share this with communities once we launched this? So this resource was launched June 25th. That's when the site became active and the toolkit went to the public, and we started kind of sharing it out and mailing it out. So we did a few things. On launch, we sent toolkits to First Nations health centers and nursing stations across the province. So your health center or nursing station may have already received this. We print toolkit copies. You can request them from us, and we print them kind of on an as-needed basis once we get enough orders to do a print run. If you're interested in ordering the toolkit, I have the email here, and I can also share it with Kim so she can send it out later for you to request copies of the toolkit sent to your community. We are planning to send a small amount out, 25 to each region in the coming weeks, and then we're anticipating that we will print again in December or January, depending on how much demand we get. So if you would like some, please let us know, because that really helps us understand demand. And we are working really hard with our regional staff, who are working super duper hard to go out into communities and present the resource directly. So I've invited a couple of the regional team members, Ed Joe and Adrian Haddock, to come and talk about how they're presenting it. So I will pass it over to Ed.
Hi school, everyone. My name is Edward Joe. I am one of the Indigenous Harm Reduction educators as well as First Nations Health Authority. I've been here for just a little over 2 years now. I come from Cowichan tribes as well as Dididat. My parents are late Lester Joe and Dorothy Joe. My grandparents on my father's side is late William Tommy and late Emily Louie. And my grandparents on my mother's side is late Sally Gray and late Oscar Thorne. Yeah, we started rolling this out as soon as we got it, but I'll also let Adrian introduce himself.
Hello, everybody. Nice to meet all you guys on this call today. My name is Adrian Haddock. I come from the traditional territory of the Splatson people that's located just outside of Vernon. My mom is Lise Haddock. She is Métis from Alberta. And today I'm calling in from the traditional territory of the Pocochin Nation here. I'm happy to be here and presenting with all you guys today.
So we have no additional slides for you guys. So do you want to just give a little overview of when you go to communities and present it? Like, how does it look? How does it go?
Yeah, Ed, do you want to start and I'll jump in, or vice versa, or?
Sure. I guess you can start. You were the first one to start this all. So
yeah, so once we got the toolkit and was able to take a look at it, we really loved just how much this toolkit really embodied the youth voice. And we had communities asking us to come in and present, to give them a little bit of a rundown on the presentation. So we ended up creating a slide presentation just based off of the with Open Arms Toolkit. And we've rolled that out to, I think, 3 communities so far. And we have a few more communities that are wanting this presentation. So it's been absolutely wonderful. The 3 communities that we've been into so far have given us great feedback on the presentation. They really love how much the youth voice comes through. They love that it's a youth resource made by youth, designed for youth. So they really appreciate that it comes from their voices. And they really love just the openness, the conversations that come along with harm reduction and substance use. And they really just like the whole holistic approach to Open Arms Toolkit. So we can kind of been more fit in our presentation to kind of go along with those, with that feedback that we've been getting. And we really want to make sure that the youth voice really comes through, as that's what communities has been giving us the best feedback about.
So one of the communities that Adrian has presented to you is the Portal Bernie community, which is one of our new channel communities. It was him. I sat in there, but he did a wonderful job presenting, and they loved it, and they wanted resources for the whole community. Another community that we're going to be going into soon, we're rolling it out in a 4-part series where we're going to break the toolkit down in 4 different sections. And they've applied for a different grant where they're able to pay for a space, pay for elders and knowledge keepers, food, and maybe something to entice the youth to keep coming in for the 4 weeks. So they're looking at gift cards or something. So they're doing that. And another community, my home community, Couch and Tribes, the community action team, reached out to us. They're holding an event. They're coming up with a name now, but it's something to do. It's a youth event, youth-based event. And they want us to present our toolkits around the with open arms and something around alcohol for our youth in Cowichan. And then we were doing a training in some more Coast Salish communities over here. I did an naloxone training, and then they kind of were talking about younger people in their community are starting to use substances, and they want to bring the toolkit into their elders first and see how they react to it, and then the rest of the community. But within that one community, there's 3 communities that all are really close to each other. So we're working to collaborate with them to roll it out. And they're thinking the same thing. Like we break it down into 4 different parts and present it that way. But with these communities, they don't really have funding for that. So we're going to try and figure out how we can approach that and do that to meet their needs. Yeah, I think that's all I have for now. I'm not sure if Adrian wants to add on anything else.
Yeah, I think the funding piece is another big question so far presented in communities that we get asked quite a bit, just how communities could bring this great resource in along with funding. That's been one of our biggest questions that we received. Another question that we receive quite a bit from community, if members of the Youth Advisory Committee could come in and talk about the resource that they created. So that's been another question we've been getting quite a bit from communities. Other than that, I don't know if I have too much to add, just all the great feedback. And again, just having this whole resource centralized around open, honest, and judgment-free communication around substance use has been some of the best positive feedback that I've seen in regards to any resource that I've seen so far in this field. So I just wanted to share how well done this was completed.
Thank you so much, Adrian and Ed, for coming in and sharing and doing all the work of sharing too. Like you guys are the boots on the ground that is telling people that this exists and helping them figure out ways to implement it in their community. So thank you so much. Hands up to you both. And I can address the questions really quickly before we move into the Youth Advisory Committee panel. In terms of funding, unfortunately, at this point in time, there's no funding available to support events or rollouts. That is a dream of ours that we are hoping to work towards down the road. But at this point, we're happy to support with staff who can come and present. We are happy to support by sending copies of the toolkit. But for other events, that will have to be left up to organizers to figure out, unfortunately. And in terms of having the youth advisory committees come and present, acknowledging there is only 9 of them and we can't send them to 200 communities to present, but also, they are happy to speak for themselves, and there's a few of them here. I do not want to put them on the spot, but we can always ask. If you would like a community presentation in your community, you can email the email that I will send out to Kim. I can say it here. It's tdr@fnha.ca, and we're happy to help you coordinate that as well. So the last part of our presentation is a panel with some of the youth advisory committee members that were a part of creating the project. And we have pre-screened questions that we've created for them just to kind of prompt them into sharing their experience, but I will pass it over to them to kind of introduce themselves. So Leaf, if you want to go first, and then Art, and then Haley.
Thank you, Shay. Hi, everyone. My name is Leaf Terrell. I am a Two-Spirit individual from Fort Nelson First Nation, Treaty 8 territory. I am 24 years old, and yeah, I have a lot of lived and living experience with precarious housing, substance use, youth advocacy, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's wonderful to meet everyone.
Thanks, Leaf. Art?
Hi, I'm Art, or Artemis. I'm from Taku River Tlingit. I'm 19 with lived and living experience in drug use and unstable housing. And yeah, words.
Thank you, Art. And Haley?
Can we hear me okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Hi, my name is Haley Scar. I am from the Kakatla and Dunaha Nation. I'm coming up on 3 years sober, so I'm feeling pretty good about that. I don't know. I've been really happy to be a part of the YAC team and connect with all these people. As you can see these beautiful photos in front of us, we've really bonded well. You look at these photos and you really don't think that we were actually meeting in person for the first time. You see that there's a lot of I don't know. I love looking at these photos. I don't have much to say. That's it for me.
Thank you. Thank you, Haley. Don't worry, we have questions to kind of help you guys organize your thoughts here. So the first question is, what about the idea of a youth-led resource drew you to this project? And I'm going to ask, I'll just go in the same order. So I'll go Leaf, Art, and then Haley. And don't feel like you have to answer. If you don't feel like you have anything you want to say on this question, you can always pass. So go ahead, Leaf.
Well, one of the ideas that drew me to this project is the fact that there isn't a whole lot out there available for youth. I know I was extremely lucky to have a father who worked in harm reduction a little bit in his own ways, right? So I was always able to bring any questions from my friend group to my dad and be like, hey, Dad, I have questions like, what would happen if you mix this substance with this substance? My friend's really worried about all this other stuff. But also in the project itself, like in the toolkit itself, it really okay, give me 30 seconds. It translates to the conversations in this toolkit can translate into multiple different topics. The skills that you can learn can translate to eating disorders. It can translate to violence, trafficking, mental health, self-harm, being precariously housed. The tools in this toolkit are so important. And as a youth myself, and as someone who had a little bit of a rough life growing up, the main idea was hoping that the next generation, the next youth, they have this toolkit and it might help them. Even if it just helps one person, that was kind of my idea and my goal.
Thank you so much, Lee. Art, do you have anything to add to this?
I was drawn in because it's a youth-led resource for youth, and it's something that wasn't there when I needed it. And I've seen so many other people who also need something of this degree. So, you know.
Haley?
I wanted to be a part of the Yak team because it felt real and relatable. I wanted to be a part of something that, like Art said, I didn't have that. A lot of us didn't have that. We are kind of actually the start of something new. And I don't know, it feels relatable. I wanted to be a part of helping someone my own age. They always say pick on someone your own size, but you never hear help someone your own age.
I love that. Okay, another question. Did I skip one? No, I didn't skip one. So connection is kind of one of the themes of the toolkit. So for you guys, why is connection important in reducing the harms of substance use? So this time I'll go backwards. I'm going to start with Haley.
What was the question?
I got it on the screen. Why is connection with others important in reducing the harms of substance use?
I really don't have much to say about that one. It's kind of like safer choices. I don't know. It's like about having someone to lean on.
Thank you. Art?
I think it's important because a connection can help build a small community, and a community can support each other.
Short, sweet, beautiful. Leaf?
This is one of my favorite questions because I've talked about this for a very long time now. So I'm gonna go back to big 2020 of COVID, right? And during COVID, there was a lot of isolation. There was a lot of like being separated from your community, from your friends, from your family, right? We all know the mandates. We all know and understand what happened. But during COVID, there was a spike in toxic drug poisoning. And that's because a lot of people had to use alone, right? There wasn't that community. There wasn't those opportunities to go out. There was whole city lockdowns, right? And one thing that I really realized was important during that time is the opposite of addiction is connection. And whether it's connection to your friends, whether it's connection to your community, whether it's just feeling like you're a valued member of your community and of your chosen family. Connection is one of the most important factors in helping to reduce toxic drug death poisonings because of the fact that with connection comes community, comes family, it comes just feeling like you're a part of something. So connection is important because in itself it is harm reduction.
Thank you, Leaf. So beautifully said. Think. Okay. There we go. This is the third question. So I'm going to start with Art for this question. If you hope people take away one thing from the toolkit, what is it that you hope they take away?
If there's anything I hope they take away from the toolkit, I would have to say it's better conversation skills when it comes to drug use, because so many people have a lot to learn and everyone learns at their own pace, but words. I don't think I have anything else to add on to that.
Thank you. Haley, what do you hope that people take away from the toolkit?
I hope that they realize that it's about caring. It's not about, judging people for what they do. Recently, my dad passed away and my family has been a shit show. And I've been telling a lot of people, I was like, I'm so exhausted, you guys. I don't have the patience to do anything. And I sit there and I tell them, I was like, can you guys just be human first? Can you guys realize that this happens? And it's so, I don't know, it's connection at the end of the day. And I want people to look at it and realize that it's like youth on youth. You know, we're taking it, we realize people need help. And so we're helping them.
Thank you, Haley. And Leaf?
So there's a couple of things that I hope people take away from with open arms. The first one is that talking about substance use, specifically when regarding youth, should not be so taboo. Also, the fact is, youth should always be invited to the table to speak for themselves, right? Nothing about us without us. That also falls to youth as well. We're already like youth are already doing this work, and having youth peers involved in this work is one of the most important things because again, nothing about us without us. But another thing, and this is one that I really hold close to my heart that I hope people take away from it, is I hope that when someone picks up the toolkit and maybe they just flip through it really quickly, even if it's just for 10 seconds, I hope for those 10 seconds they don't feel so alone and that they know that there are other people out there fighting for them and fighting for the right. So at the end of the day, I really just hope that even if it's just one person who doesn't feel so alone and feels seen, that's what happens.
Thank you, Leaf. You're gonna make me cry. Okay, the final question I have for the Yak is, how has working on this project impacted you? So this time I will start with Leaf, we'll go Art, and then we'll end with Haley.
So how has this project impacted me? Well, I did not expect to become so closely connected with the other members of the ACK and really make those deep, impactful connections. But on top of that, I've been now working on my own little side presentation away from FNHA, so that way I can go in communities on my own and I can present this. And eventually, I hope to kind of do this work and still get this out to communities and stuff. And I never really realized how much work actually goes into a presentation, but at the end of the day, it's all worth it because of the fact that I get to go into those communities and have those parents, have those youth, have those elders all come up to me, and there's a variety of reactions. Some of them are like, "Why are you doing this?" and others of them are saying, "Thank you for making sure that somebody's doing this work." So honestly, it's filled my heart more than anything.
Thank you so much, Leaf. Art?
This project has both brought me together with a lot of great and amazing people, and it's helped me work through some of my own stuff as we worked on it. Yeah, no. Haley?
I've done a lot of growing, getting to connect with people from up and down the island and further across BC. I really have done a lot of growing. It's made me more compassionate and understanding and supportive. Like our whole thing is about being supportive. I'm gonna be honest, I wasn't that good at being supportive. I was just actually, Shay, you probably met me when I was still using. And so, you know, to see me get sober from doing that in a way that definitely shows and speaks volumes on how much I've grown. And to me, it's kind of connected me with the sense of community, connected me with you guys, but also sometimes I'm like on Facebook late at night and I see our ads and I look through the comments or I look through who's liked it and I love it. I do it to all of you guys. I look at all of your guys' ads often, frequently because it really connects me to the community and it shows that we can be good people and there's good people out there.
Thank you so much. That's all we have for the presentation. I want to take a brief moment to thank the youth committee specifically for coming and being vulnerable and answering these questions and saying, we are so proud of you. We are so, so proud of you. And this project is really yours. And we supported it by writing it, doing the typey, but you guys were really the ideas behind the project. So thank you so much. And to everybody who has listened to the presentation, we're happy to take questions at this point in time if you have questions for us. To our youth committee, feel free to stay. We will say you can ask the youth committee questions, but also they are free to decline your questions if they feel like maybe it's not appropriate or they would rather us answer. So yeah, please use your hand feature so then we can kind of keep track of who's who. I see a question from Ang or Ange.
Sorry, I didn't realize I was supposed to change that. Hi, everybody. Tansei Wei. My name is Angela. I am the Health and Wellness Director at West Bank First Nation. I've been here just for a year now. I just wanted to, not so much a question because your presentation was pretty informative, so I appreciate that. Just some commendation and expression of pride that I feel for you as Indigenous youth in the community and in the regions that you come from and that you serve. And I just wanted to give you a shout out and just tell you that it's just a beautiful thing to see the strength and the honor that each and every one of you bring. So thank you for that.
Thank you so much. Any other questions, comments? Janice?
Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I don't have any questions. I was trying to think of a question, but you guys have done so amazingly well with this work that I don't even have one question to ask. Every time I thought of something, I looked in the toolkit here that I downloaded, and the answers are there. So I'm just really, really commending you on this amazing work and knowing that, you know, there seems to be a lack of resources for youth in the province. And I'm just really excited that we have this toolkit. And I think it'll be really useful and valuable to our work. So I'm just, I just wanted to commend you all and thank you for such an amazing toolkit and for inviting us here today. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Janice. I think I saw Vanessa next and then Terry.
Hi, thank you to the team for sharing your stories and being vulnerable. And I just wanted to acknowledge, I believe it was Haley, your loss, and hopefully you make it through the shitstorm. I'm sure you'll be one of the people that will help guide your family through that. So thank you all for being in the forefront of this and doing what you're doing. I've been messaging with Edward and hoping to bring this to my community as well. So thank you. Hands up. Choo.
Thanks for that kind message, Vanessa. Terry?
Good afternoon, everyone. Terry Davidson from the Boothroyd Indian Band in the Fraser region. And thank you to the Yak Group for your presentation, your toolkit book. Coming very handy. And I'm just wondering about the Fraser. A few of our communities are going to be doing a harm reduction collective workshop with Boothroyd, Yakweeksu, Achulets, Skokale, and Squaw First Nations in Chilliwack. And it's a joint one, but I'm just wondering from the Yak group if you would recommend if we should do one strictly for youth in the region. And if you guys could provide a bit of guidance there. Thank you.
Would anybody from the Yak like to answer that? If I understood, it's a question for the Yak. Leaf?
So having a youth specific one has a lot of different benefits, especially when youth are always a little bit more skittish in community settings. I would know I was also very skittish. And there's always that fear of being recognized by someone you know, especially if you're at an event that your parents may not approve of you being at, right? So having a youth specific one, I think, may help because of the fact that that way youth also are with other youth. And we all know youth love to move in packs. Look at the yak. um, but yeah, I think having a youth specific one would be a great idea.
Art?
Yeah, no, I'm with Leaf on the idea, like having a youth specific one would be good. A lot of youth are not overly comfortable going out with other people. I'm down in the Fraser Valley, actually. I live down here if you want to connect and we could talk more too. Try and plan something. I could try and help out. I'm better at typing than I am with speaking, so.
You're great the way you are, Art. Thank you. And if you're good with that, if you're comfortable with that, and Terry's comfortable with that, I'm sure that we can help you make a connection. Thank you for your question.
Yes, that would be great if there could be a connection made. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions? Okay, if there are no other questions, I think we're good. Thank you so much for inviting us today.
Thank you all for being here. That was really fabulous. I was trying to not hit all the little heart emojis all the way through because, it's supposed to be like hosting. But yeah, fabulous, fabulous job, everyone. A reminder to health directors and other health staff. So for health directors, our webinars, you're welcome to share these with members of your staff. If you want to attend with them or you aren't able to attend and you think someone on your staff would benefit from a webinar, I appreciate that some of you did ask us if you could forward it, but this is now your blanket permission that for our webinars, please feel free. So that is out there for that. There are some things, some links and such in the chat, but a reminder that FNHDA at FNHA.ca is, you can always send your questions there and we will be happy to forward you on to Shay and her team or to whomever else that connection needs to be made through. So yeah, just hands up to all of you. Before we opened the waiting room, I was having my little fangirl moment because our team's been so excited hearing whispers of this resource being developed, and so excited that it was here to share with all of you, and that it is just so really excellent. And thank you especially to the youth. I know we're a bunch of old boring adults here, and so we really appreciate hearing your wisdom and your perspectives. Yeah, and so with that, just have a lovely day, everyone. We're ending a little early, but I won't tell your boss if you don't tell your boss. So go have a little coffee outside in the sunshine, if you have sunshine where you are, and we will talk to you all soon.
Bye.
Thank you.